read that you were trying to go to space camp and got diagnosed with scoliosis. First of all, did you end up going to space camp?
Oh yes. So I actually went to space camp twice as a young teenager. And funny enough, I just went last month to an adult sort of space camp that was it's an astronomy workshop for writers to teach you kind of the groundwork, the basic. It was almost like astronomy 101 crammed into a week, but just with us, and it was all writers, various types of writers, and then these astronomers, astronomy professors, and fantastic. So yes,
That's
I have gotten to go
amazing.
to space. Yes, yeah.
My only reference for space camp is Mary Kate and Ashley go to space camp in one of their videos,
I
which
definitely
reveals how
watched
old I
that.
am.
No, I definitely watched that as a kid for
Yeah.
sure.
So, but the other part of that story is that you got diagnosed with scoliosis and you ended up having surgery for that.
Yeah.
And so I imagine there's some adversity there, dealing with surgery as a young person in general. Do you feel like that shows up in your writing?
That's a really good question. It probably does subconsciously. I think at the time when I was going through it and experiencing it, I didn't really think so much about it that way. I was a teenager, I was in high school, and I wanted to be as not different as possible. So I was initially supposed to have surgery actually the summer before my freshman year. And it would have been a slightly bigger ordeal than it ended up being because the science progressed so much just in the 3 years. I ended up having it at the beginning of my senior year of high school. And I was really, really lucky with where I went to school. You know, they just kind of enfolded me and like took care of me and helped me get caught up on classes that I missed. So there were certainly academic elements of it that were challenging, but I had a lot of help. I think the adversity kind of began to come later as there were things I realized I couldn't do. Even in high school, really, I obviously I wanted to be an astronaut, and there was a moment in the car with my mom where she had said, "Listen, with your back, there's no way you're going to the Air Force Academy. Like you need a plan B." And it's funny for me now to think about me doing because I'm just such a different like was I tough enough to have survived that, even the scoliosis aside? I don't know. It was a different time. But I said, fine, then I'll become a writer and I'll write about it. And I actually haven't really written a sci-fi or written a space story yet. I have some stuff but in terms of, it's been more as I feel like I've realized it more as I've gotten older. There were certainly always things I couldn't do, but even now, my husband and I are in our 40s and he's just now starting to hit the like, oh, you turn 40 and suddenly like your knee doesn't work anymore, whatever. It's like a lot of the things he's experiencing, I didn't know that everyone didn't experience that all the time because I've had those aches and pains and soreness and stiffness and difficulties since I was 13 years old. And so it's kind of this evolving realization of ways that things may have been different or harder that I didn't even realize, and I've just kind of gotten on with it.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting to me that you were like, okay, I'm not going to be an astronaut. I'll write about it instead. And now you've veered into historical romance.
That's
How
true.
did that happen?
For a long time I was trying to write young adult. And well, I was writing young adult, let's say. And the last young adult book that I wrote actually was set at a fictional space camp, but I never ended up doing anything with it. And I was kind of in a place where I was struggling to balance work and writing, and I wasn't having as much fun with my writing as I would have liked to have been. And I was watching something with my husband and it was had a romance element and I was like, I just love love. Why don't I write this? And he was like, why don't you write this? It's your favorite thing. And then I saw a contest to write Highland historical. And I had been writing just because I was blocked, I had been writing some Outlander fan fiction just for a friend of mine. I didn't put this anywhere. It's not on AO3. You're not going to find it. Don't go look. But I was just writing it for a friend of mine because that was the only thing I could seem to write. I was very stuck. And she said, stop what you're doing immediately and go write Highland romance. And I didn't think that I could. I thought, there's no way. That's a lot of research. I don't have the, background, but it was fun. And so when I saw that there was this contest, I thought I'm gonna try it. And it was the most fun I had had writing in years. And then I kind of realized historical romance is my favorite thing to read. I should probably be writing it. Kind of just came about. I started during the pandemic, and the rest is history.